Hey, what's going on? I'm Quis here from Sports Vibes TV, and today I am joined by George from Into the Knicks Verse. George, how are you?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
And I'm also joined by a guy, Stephen Fox. Foxy, how's everything with you?
All good. Salute to you. Salute to George. Salute to the chat. Salute to the SV Nation. Salute to the Into the Verse family. Woof!
Max, want to give a few shout outs. We got Joseph Chavez in the chat. Omari Belgrove is in the chat as well, saying I finally get to catch a show live. John Talento also in the chat. And we got our guy Charlie King in the chat as well. Want to give you guys a shout out. Thank you for tuning into the pregame show. And fellas, we've had a pretty busy start of the week, man. We had some big news drop.
Yes,
Kemba will no longer be in not only the starting lineup, but he won't even be in the rotation. So, Foxy, I'll start with you. Let me know your thoughts on the move and what do you think is going to happen from it?
Very similar to what we said on the Sunday show. I know we got some heat that we were hating, but the thing that we said during the show and was reiterated by Tibbs in the press conference is, hey, we weren't hating on Kemba. We were talking about what was best for the team. And you can't have the best defense in the league when he's off the court and worst defense when he's on the court. So all the stats and facts backed it up that it was the right decision. Hey, he's a good guy. We're Bronx boys. We didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but a business is a business. And Alec Burks, it's time for us to go a different direction and go Knicks go.
George, what about you? How do you feel about the switch?
Well, I mean, to me, it's a big bummer, that Kemba didn't work out, because I mean, when Kemba was at UConn, I mean, I was dreaming of him playing for the Knicks, and then of course he goes to Charlotte, and we kept missing out on these like super high quality, fat, lightning quick point guards, which we desperately need on this team. We've needed for years. So when we finally brought him over, I was pumped, man. I was hyped. But the facts are the facts. The reality is the reality. He just wasn't a good fit for this unit. And there wasn't enough time to give him time for them to figure out how to best, let's say, I'm not using the word, but to hide him on defense. The way the defense scheme is structured, it's a lot of switching. Guys are supposed to be able to guard maybe two positions minimum. 3 is the optimal for a Thibs defensive scheme. With Kemba, he can't even guard a 1, really. So it just, after a while, it was really crippling the team, and you could see it. And I mean, I've broken film down and shown how much it's impacted negatively on RJ defensively, and in some ways on Julius as well. So that, it was just weakening the whole thing. What is it? The old adage, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Yep.
And that was it. So it was the right move. We've talked about, I wish it had been less drastic where he had switched the backcourts. So Kemba's still a serious piece of this team, but he decided to go a different way. And this was, since if you're not going to have Kemba being the lead guard in the second unit, then he can't be in the rotation at all. That was the tough decision, and Thibs made the toughest decision. So in the end, it's going to be better for the team, and Kemba will find a place. He will, because he offensively he can still shoot, he can still score. I just hope he finds a good home, or they find a good home for him.
Yeah, I feel you on that, George. When you say it's a bummer, same thing on my end.
He was one of my heroes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of your heroes. He's one of my, hometown heroes from my neighborhood, growing up. I told you the story, George. I'm not sure if I told it to you at Foxy. But growing up, we used to have this game. We used to see Kemba shooting at the courts late at night, 10, 11 o'clock working on this game. And I had a friend, Kevin. We would go out there and we would play this game with him. Every shot Kemba made, he'd get $1 off of us. Any shot he missed, he would give us $1. And, we probably financed some of his hoop dreams with the amount of money he was able to get off us. So to see him and to see the amount of work that he was putting in Even back in those days, it sucks to see him, not be able to flourish the way we would have liked to see. But you guys have all said it. It's a move that had to be made with the defense, the way we're set up. We just really can't have two minus defenders out there on the court and try to be, competitive out there and trying to get into the playoffs, especially with how tough the East has been. So, Foxy, I want to talk to you about Alec Burks and what he could bring to this starting lineup. We already saw some flashes of it in the Hawks game where he was able to bring some energy out there and he was able to explode in the third quarter, a quarter that has been extremely tough for us throughout this season, and even dating back to last year. So, Foxy, what are you looking Alec Burks to bring to this starting lineup in his game against the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, he's a vet. He's exactly what Tibbs loves. He's an elite shooter. He's actually an elite non-corner three shooter. He's
not a good corner three shooter.
He's 30%, and he's not a good mid-range shooter, and he's not a good finisher at the rim. So literally, it's a pretty strange thing that he is just a really good non-corner three shooter, but he's not really good shooting this year anyplace else. But he is elite in drawing fouls. So he 12% of his shots, he's elite at that drawing fouls. And he's also very, very good, excellent touch under elite in drawing non-shooting fouls. So he's going to bring that smarts. That 6'6" size is beautiful. That's right up Tibbs. He likes big point guards. And, it was funny because I was talking to you, Quis, before the broadcast and said that, just what George brought up, that the weird thing when you go through his stats, he's a fantastic non-corner three shooter, but playing the point, will that put him in, when he's running the set, will that put him in mid-range and corner three positions where he's not really nailing it? When he was at the three position, was that really where his sweet spot was? But hey, let's look at it this way. Everybody wanted Lonzo, a guy who just shoots threes, shoots long distance threes and stuff. And we got our version of Lonzo. But hey, he's a smart player. He's excellent. Low turnover ratio. His assist ratio is very good. So hey, never meant it as a bad thing to Kemba, like we just talked about. But I think he's going to be. He's a stopgap. I don't think we talked about it. I never looked at him as a point guard. I looked at him as an emergency point guard. And whether in Atlanta last year during the playoffs and at this situation, I think it'll be good. But I think he's going to just bring that smarts, those vets, that good shooting. And let's see how he works out with the rest of the gang, with RJ, Randall, and the rest of the crew on that first team.
I hear you, Foxy. George, how do you feel about the move with Alec Burks being inserted?
I think it's kind of like it's like a puzzle. What's that? Remember those puzzles where you had to move pieces around to kind of slot them in? And you had to move some back to move it around. I think that's what the solution is with Burks, because if you start Rose, then what happens with the second unit? Is it like you're going to be the lead guard in the second unit? So who's going to be, then that means you'd have to start, or not start, but you'd have to insert who into that bench rotation. Would it be Grimes?
You'd hope it McBride.
McBride. Yeah.
That's something we could touch on in a few minutes, though.
Yeah. I have some thoughts about that. But Miles is not ready. He's not ready yet. In the Thibs mentality. You know what I mean? Like he likes to give them a few minutes, like he's doing with Grimes. He gives him 10 minutes. He sees how he does it. And he likes what he sees. He gives him another 10 minutes, but doesn't overdo it. Last year, he did that with IQ. Remember, he gave him 15 minutes here. He gave Obi 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Doesn't overdo it. And Miles hasn't even played at all this season, anything meaningful. So he got stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's like, you know what? And Thibs is totally right. He cannot have three small guards on the floor at the same time. So that was so then the option was start Burks. And you know what? He did an excellent job the other night. Fantastic. He led the team in scoring. I think it's a temporary solution. I could just jump right into, because we talked about this today, Quis and I, I think there's a possibility that one reason Deuce has been sent to Westchester, because this has been in the works for a while, guys. And I think it might even have been Foxy who mentioned it, that he saw some photographs from workouts from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and Alec Burks had the starter's jersey on.
Wasn't me. Nope, got to be honest.
Well, someone pointed it out. Maybe it was us. I don't know. I can't remember. But and then so they were like, okay, that's something interesting. And so that was at least a week ago, maybe more, 2 weeks ago. So Miles has been going to Westchester to get some burn there, and he's been doing great. I think it eventually this thing is going to evolve to, unless Burks just turns out to be, he's reborn as a point guard at age 30. If that happens, more power to him, more power to us. But the odds are eventually he'll end up being what he always has been, which is, the jack of all trades. Yeah,
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife, which means he doesn't.
And master of non-corner threes.
But no, maybe he'll even start hitting those. Yeah. But I think this is a temporary solution to while Rose gets healthy, and then IQ, possibly what'll happen is either one of two things, possibly. IQ will either become the starter, and Burks, and depending on how Fournier does, if Fournier continues to, to give us the production he's been giving us lately, except for that one terrible game. Don't worry about the last 5 games. He's been pretty solid, shooting over 50% from the 3. So actually now it's even higher. So if Fournier continues doing that, then Burks will return to the second unit. IQ will take his position, and then who will take IQ's position? That'll be the TBD. It'll either be Grimes or it will be Deuce, because Deuce has been the 2 guard. He played that in Summer League with IQ. So, but if Rose ends up starting, then we might see that Summer League backcourt of IQ and Deuce. I just don't think that Burks being the starting point guard on this team is going to be a lasting solution.
So you think Burks is starting because D Rose is unavailable at the moment?
Yeah. And also Tibbs is not 100% on Grimes and Deuce yet. He doesn't know which one of those two, or even if both of them, are going to develop into someone he can depend on, like the way he depended on IQ. IQ was a permanent fixture in the second unit last season. So I think Tibbs is probably thinking, all right, one of these two guys, maybe both, we'll see, but they're not ready right now at the moment. So since they're not ready right now at the moment, I can't have Rose start, and that second unit is just, no one really to lead it. So I think that's why he's going with Burks right now. That's my take on that.
Yeah, I still think.
What do you guys think about that?
I was going to say that Tibbs at the beginning of the season, when they were discussing who's going to start, Kemba or Rose, that he talked about. I forgot my train of thought, so you guys go. Getting old, man. Yeah, it just left my brain. Woo!
Excited for the game tonight. It's a big night. It's a big night. Battlefield.
Yeah, New York. Big game. There's so much has happened.
Yeah. It's been a whirlwind.
Knicks just announced Barrett, Gibson, Noel, Robinson, and Rose are all available to play tonight.
Woo!
Okay,
Brooklyn. But that Jericho,
we got a full squad.
Jericho Sims is inactive.
Wow, that is nuts.
Well, that makes sense. You're gonna have Taj back. You're gonna have Nerlens back.
Oh, okay.
Your big man depth.
Yeah,
makes sense. I mean, it was looking like Sims might have been on the start with the starters. The way it was looking, with Mitch having the illness and Taj and Noel being injured.
I like Taj being available to battle with God, what's his name? Now I'm blanking.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, I remember what I was going to say. He didn't want to move at the beginning of the season when he had that press conference about who starts and who doesn't. He said he liked D Rose on the second team because those guys know each other. He doesn't want to ruin that synergy. So I don't know whether he still has that mindset of keeping him there because that team works well together, and maybe we'll just we'll move Burks off that team. But D Rose, because of what he does, it'll keep most of the synergy. If IQ stays on that second team along with Obi.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on Burks as a point guard, but I think he is a better option with Kemba just because of the defense that he's able to play out there and the energy he gave the starters. Offensively, I'm skeptical. I still don't really see Burks as a full-time facilitator, but I'm willing to go with the experiment and see where it takes us. We already saw with the Atlanta Hawks, his team plays different with him out there on the court to start games, and that has been a big issue for us. And we're going up against a team that has two offensive weapons, and we need to be, we need to have all hands on deck, and we need to start the game with full intensity out there on defense, because if not, they can pull a lead out on us, and it'll be hard for us to scrap and try to fight back. So for me, defense, I think, was key in the decision, because offensively, I think the team still had issues with Burks in the starting lineup. We still didn't crack 100 points. So offensively, there are still some things that the team has to work on. But I think the defense, it'll at least remedy that concern. And offensively, we have enough talented scorers where they'll be able to get a key or crucial bucket when we need one.
Yeah. And I was just gonna, what we mentioned last week, even though we won that big game against Atlanta, we only had 20 assists, which is one less than what we were saying was terrible.
Which is 7 more than the game before.
Yeah. word.
Improvement.
Yeah. So it's something that we have a lot to work on that way.
I think it comes down to that switchability in the defensive end. Because then, Fournier, okay, like we've talked about, he's kind of a wash in terms of what he gives you offensively and when he doesn't give you defensively. So he's a wash. But at least, when you have RJ, Burks, and him, the three of them switching around on the perimeter, that's nice. Fournier's got good size. He's got
6'6", 6'6".
Exactly. And he's been disrupting people's shots lately, I've noticed. He's done a better job on a perimeter. His actual perimeter defensive stats are not that bad. And I have to keep looking at him like, what? Am I really looking at the right stats? And it's like, yeah, he holds people down, I think, to like a 30% three-point field goal shooting. That's his defense. So that's pretty decent. He's not a lockdown defender at all, and he's often out of position. But his perimeter, when he's able to defend the 3-point line, he's at least get to the shooter. He disrupts him enough to, I think they average 30.1%.
Hey, fellas, did you see that bizarre shout out to Tommy Beard? Did you see that wild tweet he put out that the only player in the NBA on a winning team with the worst plus minus than Kemba? Luka.
Yeah. Luka. Yeah, he's a -9 or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. So the Mavs have been outscored by 110 points this year with Luka on the floor.
It's funny you bring up, because I was looking earlier doing research. I was like, let me see what are we gonna do with for a point guard? I was looking at all the point guards under 26 years old. Look at them all, and Luka's net rating is atrocious, horrible.
Yeah, he's a chucker and a chucker. That's about it.
I was stunned that it was that bad, honestly.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Meaning it's hard to be a winning team when you have that type of stat, man.
Yeah,
that's probably why KP's so disgruntled over there.
Because I was looking at guys like, what if we get like Trey Jones, one of those Jones brothers, or somebody? It's just somebody, with some decent size and can shoot the three, can move the ball around. Like, who else can we pick up right now? And there really is nothing.
That and also there was a trend. I sent out a tweet today about the top 20 worst NBA defenders, and it was just littered with little guys. So number one on the list was Desmond Bane, but followed by Damian Lillard, Norman Powell, John Morant, CJ McCollum. The next one, Kelly Oubre. Everybody's like, get Kelly Oubre. He's the answer on the wing. And the one after that is interesting, Davion Mitchell. Oh my God, he's a game changer. And it's like, he's tiny. I was saying in this stuff, he's tiny, folks. College is a big difference in going. I know he was dominant in college.
He is definitely in. He's a good defender. He's engaged, but he is
not so far. He's the 7th worst defensive rating. But the list goes on. And Devontae Graham and Dre Young, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Maxey. So it just shows that there are a lot of guys in this league. The little guys, they have problems, man. Like you were saying, 6'6", 6'6", maybe he's going to present issues.
So all guards in the NBA that are under the age of 26 that play more than 12 minutes per game, the leading net rating guy is Garrison Matthews from Houston.
Yeah.
He's a 14.2. Number 2 is Donovan Mitchell of Utah Jazz. We love him, Spider. Guess who number 3 is? Guess who is the number 3 guard, all guards, everybody under the age of 26 who plays at least 12 minutes a game, who has the 3rd highest net rating?
IQ?
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
IQ 11.6. Yeah, there we
Ladies
go.
and gentlemen, roadcasters come out early in the broadcast. Yo! I love my keys.
But after him is Jordan Poole. And then after him, who's someone I thought about. All right, D'Angelo Russell. He's 5th in the NBA, guards under 26, with a 10.7
Crazy, he's still under 26
net rating. Yeah, I know. That's a long
it's
been around.
crazy.
He was a baby when he came out.
Yeah.
But guess who is number 6? This one will be frustrating for Nick.
Don't say Frank.
No way.
9.3.
Foxy, 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Yeah, that's why you got me on the show.
You know what? I'm gonna screen grab this and send it to you, Keith. So you can throw it up later if you want.
Wow. Yeah, I'll throw it up. All right. Anything with Frank gives me that feeling.
Well,
but you know what the funny thing is, George? If it was 1 year older, 27, my guy at 27 is DeJounte Murray.
DeJounte Murray is he's on here.
Is he? I thought he was 27.
Yeah. DeJounte Murray is I'll tell you what his net rating is.
Because he's a good defensive player, man. I think he's like 23rd in the league in defense.
You know who was right below Frank? Was there's like guys like Gabe Vincent and then Austin Reeves from the Lakers, but Devin Booker, 8.2, Herter, 7.8, Kennard, but then Lonzo Ball is 12th, 5.9 net rating.
We could have had him.
He's the guy that we wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean by we, I mean us.
Us too, yeah.
Yeah.
We still don't have any evidence the Knicks actually made up. We're in pursuit.
DeJounte Murray, his offensive rating is 107.9, defensive rating is 105.3 for net rating of 2.5. So he's in that group with Matisse Thybulle. He's almost tied with LaMelo, Duarte. He's below Kobe White. He's not having as great a year this season yet, but he's 25 according to.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But he's up there. He's a plus player.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
People were drooling over Jalen Brunson. Remember?
I dropped a Kemba rumor video and people were saying we should go after Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. He's a role player. Just meaning if you watch him in the playoffs last year, he did nothing. So
yeah, 3.4. Which is good, but
just want to give a quick shout out to the chat, George. We just cracked the 100 threshold.
Oh, awesome.
I want to give a few shout outs. We got Citizen X.
Yeah.
He is in the chat. Salute, Citizen. Thank you for tuning in. We got our guy Cully in there as well. John Talento still with us. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the live stream. White Falcon. He's saying he misses Frankie.
Oh no, don't wake that up.
Yeah, Parrish Duggar is saying not gonna see our youth tonight because Rose and Noel are back. Sims can't dress.
I mean, Frank, in my opinion, Frank never got the chance with Thibs. The real serious chance.
Oh, come on. He was always injured every time he had a chance.
That's the other thing.
That's
he was
true.
always injured. He'd show us something. He'd get us all like excited.
7 games.
Yeah. And then boom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of our youth, though, now with Kemba exiting the rotation, we're going to see defined role now for Quentin Grimes with that second unit. Foxy, how do you feel about that? Quentin Grimes finally getting an opportunity to step into the spotlight.
I'm glad. I want like I talked about this year is we're really the cool thing about us, I think, is that we keep it real. that we said all along in our analysis from day one that, hey, East is stacked. We have a deep roster, but that doesn't equate to an elite roster. So, and part of this year is about development. So I want to give Byrne to see what we have, whether it's Quentin or Deuce. But on the Grimes standpoint, we got to start first and foremost with his defense. That's what gets him on the court or anybody on the court with Tibbs. And just love the way he squares up. I talked about it. I just love his ferocity and everything. And the other things we're seeing that, again, the things that we touched on, he's a 3-point shooter. And did I say a 3-point shooter yet? He's not much of a mid-range and not much at finishing at the basket, and those things will come. It's part of the development process, but, let's give him his thing, and hopefully that and improving his handle will come along, but he can shoot the 3 now. So if we can run a couple sets, a couple of nice screens, he'll hit his 3s, but he's going to be tough on D from day one, and I love that. And I think the other parts of his game will come along.
George, how do you feel about Grimes finally getting the opportunity to step up and play major minutes with that second? Well, we hope it's major minutes with that second unit. You never know with Tibbs.
We don't know. We don't know yet, but it looks like that's a possibility. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Grimes he's a serious dude. He is a well-balanced player. He's a rook, so he's going to make a mistake here and there once in a while, but his highs are really high. I mean, that between the legs dime that then he threw to Obi. Come on.
Yeah. Sweetness.
Come on. Woo! Yeah. I mean, when was the last time we saw any rookie do that? Pass.
Mark Jackson.
Yeah. LaMelo.
Yeah.
LaMelo.
I thought you meant Knicks related.
Even Knicks related. Yeah. Eddie. So he's quality. And Thibs came out and said it, that he thinks he's going to be a very good player. He said it I think yesterday in the press conference. He singled Grimes out, which we know Thibs by now. When he starts doing that, he's prepping us all that Grimes is probably going to pick up Burks' minutes from the second unit. So that's good, because that's what we want. This is what we want. We want our rooks to get burned. They develop, they become commodities themselves. Their value rises, and then we can do something either or they become
or we know that they're not what we thought they were, and we got to move on.
Exactly. We won't have to wait 4 seasons to find out that Frank didn't work out here. So this is good. I think it's good. I hope he does. Again, we don't know for sure, but I hope he does. The guy I'm wondering if Deuce is ever going to get any real burn. But like I said, I think that's in the cards. I think that's what they're planning on.
But I think you nailed it. I watched the game last night with Westchester. Westchester, it's so hard. The G League, they play. It's hard for you to really, if you watch him or Luca, they're shooting. It's the discipline's not really there for you to refine your skills. They come up to the NBA. So he scored 25 and he scored 28 last night. But you saw from a point guard position, he has a lot to work on. But it's hard to work on that in that league. So he's raw, but he'll bring the D. It's very similar with Grimes as it is with Deuce. They're going to be very good on defense, and the other parts of the game, it's going to take a few years for them to refine.
Before we get back, I'll get into Grimes a little bit further. I want to give a shout out to Joseph Chavez for the $5 super chat. He's saying, I'm going to shut down the Frank train. Frank, every time he came in the game, he caused fouls faster than most players in the league.
Yeah, Frank was frustrating. I'm not gonna lie.
Remember that game against the Nets? He came in and got like 3 fouls in a minute.
Yes.
What kind of craziness was that?
But then I also like that he wanted to punch LeBron in the mouth.
Yeah.
A few people trying to get at LeBron over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Cantor, you've got Isaiah, what's his name?
Stewart. November 28th is the next meeting between those two. He's a Rochester boy. I think he has something. He has that marked on the calendar. He's not going to let LeBron get away with that shot on his eye. So,
Infinite Brainstorm Productions. He commented, "I'd rather see us use a 12-man rotation."
Word.
Bam. Bingo, bango, bongo. That's what we want.
Where's that roadcaster? That's what I'm talking about. My boy Quis. Hey, that was for you for Infinite Brainstorm. We love that. Golden State's doing it. Let's have a 12-man. Let's not make it 9. I was afraid Tibbs is going to make it tighter into a 9-man rotation with these changes.
He used the word, I'm going to tighten the rotation.
I know, and I was like, oh no. I want you to open it up, make us fresher. Use 12 because those 12 bring development time for our kids. Mm-hmm. And like we said, Bulls, it doesn't have to be a quarter. It can be just 4-minute stints, but it means the world to them.
Facts. The Bulls are playing Ayo DeSumo 15 minutes per game, and they're in the same, and they're doing better than us. And they're in the same race towards the playoffs. So I don't see why we can't find minutes for some of these guys just to get them acclimated to the NBA game and get them up to game speed. So if we do have to rely on them, whether it be injury or whether it be, players in the rotation not performing, at least they're prepared to step in and actually make some, impact plays out there on the court, as opposed to putting Frank in, with, seconds to go and trying to guard someone like Trae Young in a key moment in the playoffs. I think that you put your players in bad situations and you don't see, the best results from them.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be minutes available because Kemba's out completely of the rotation. And Burks was already playing 27 and a half minutes or around that per game. So he's not going to play more than 30. So there's still going to be an extra 12 minutes about. And who's going to fill that? It could be, depending on how Obi responds to playing the
You'd hope Obi gets more minutes, man.
That 16 the other night was a crime.
Yeah, we've been crying for that. But there's going to be more minutes. So hopefully they do get distributed amongst the younger players.
Yeah. Hey, one second, fellas, I just wanted to do a shout out. Hey, SV Nation, got a favor to ask you. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the great content by our brother Quis and Sports Vibe TV. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet, Lex the Destroyer and Citizen X. And I don't know if Delano's here, but Justin L. Boost Mobile, big task at hand. We're very, very blessed with some of the best in the world.
Yeah, we got a good squad holding us down.
Yes.
All right. So, guys, I have the tail of the tape. Knicks and Nets, we got traditional stats: points per game, assists per game, rebounds per game, field goal percentage, and also 3-point percentage. As you can see, one weakness for the Nets is going to be their rebounding. Luckily, we have Mitch, who should be a problem down there. I think they're missing Claxton. Did they get any report? I don't think Claxton will be available.
No, he won't be.
So Mitch should be a factor. Also known as Noel. So it's good for us to get our bigs back, especially against a team like the Nets that are weak on the glass. Foxy, how are we going to, or how should we attack the Brooklyn Nets if we want to come out of this game victorious?
Well, like you were saying, they're last in offensive rebounding. They're not a good rebounding team, and I'm old school with rebounding. It's about technique. Box out, box out, box out. Just play smart and do what you're supposed to do. Play physical, but box out. I know it sounds like a simple answer, but sometimes when you watch, you're like, "Where's the technique?" So hopefully, you said, Mitch is playing tonight.
Yep, Mitch and Noel are going to be
beautiful.
Available.
So hopefully they'll do what they have to do. Mitch hope he's a little fresher and do what we do. He had a day off to rest that knee, ankle, hip, back, shoulder, everything. And the same thing for Noel with the knee, hamstring, and everything else. So I don't know what the over-under is on how many times they'll both be on the deck tonight, but I'll check that stat later.
Hopefully it's under 2.
Please, George, I hope so too.
George, what do you think the Knicks have to do if we're going to be able to come out of this game with a victory?
Well, not turn the ball over. That's for one thing. And that stuff just drives me nuts. But definitely we have to. Look, they're the number 2 3-point shooting team in the league, but they're going to be without Joe Harris. So
huge.
Yeah, so that's a big deficit for them. But definitely making sure that if KD and Harden, they're going to get theirs, but not let anyone else get off. We can't let LaMarcus come up with 25 and 15 or something. You know, I mean, like that'll be a crusher for us or whoever ends up.
Or Patty Mills.
Or Patty Mills.
Yeah, Patty Mills.
Yeah, Patty Mills contributing 28 or something. I mean,
Yeah, because he could put up those threes and that could light it up quick.
Exactly. So we have to neutralize everyone else as much as possible. Make them non-factors, really.
And Bembury's playing well for them.
Yeah, and he's a decent sized player. So
6'5", 210.
Yeah, he's got some decent speed.
And he's shooting 41% from three.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. So there you go. See, they got some 3-point shooting there.
So as we've been saying, we just don't want another Grayson Allen, Connaughton. You know, like you said, Katie and Harden are going to get theirs, but let's keep
no one can have their career quarter.
Thank you, George. Exactly.
I think we won't have those issues. I think though with the lineup change, I think we at least are going to be a lot more competitive out there defensively. I think that's the biggest issue. A lot of people are saying the offense is the issue, but I think if you look at last season, you know, we weren't the greatest offensive team. Yes, we shot the lights out, you know, from three in terms of percentage, but it was our defense that kept us in a lot of games. And now you're telling me we upgraded our offense, and yes, teams in the Eastern Conference have gotten better. But if we're able to play that same level of defense, we're going to be in games where we just have to rely on a Julius Randle who has to come up out of his slumber. You know, same thing with RJ Barrett. I was a little bit worried with him, you know, potentially being out with illness because we saw him against that, you know, the Atlanta Hawks. It seemed like he was trying to come out of that trance he's been in over the last, you know, 6-7 games. So, you know, hopefully we'll be able to play defense for the full 48 and be in a position to win late in that game.
Yeah. Fred Katz put it out that when Kemba was on the bench, we had 99 defensive rating, the best in the league. So hopefully that is, you know, one of the strange things playing the Nets, thinking about it, is that it's so weird that we're going against a guy very similar with Burks. Their point guard's a guy I never thought of as a point guard, Harden. You know, so we have a situation.
People experimenting now. They're trying to make KPJ a point guard now off of the James Harden model.
Yeah, so you know, and I respect Harden last year, and he's playing very good defense statistically this year. So but he's doing what's best for the team at this point. Obviously, he's older. He wants to do what's best, you know, get that chip. So he's making some sacrifices to his game for the team. And I think hopefully, you know, that Burks, it's a similar thing. It's not his natural thing, but he's a vet. He's smart. And I think compared to, you know, Kemba and a few of the others, if he plays smart basketball and does what he's supposed to do, we have a much better chance of winning.
I think Fournier is going to have a huge game.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's bring the question to the
He's
chat.
been trending up. He's been trending up.
Yo, all I asked for is 15 points because then statistically we're 7-0 when he scores 15 and more. Yeah. So if we hit 15, maybe we're 8-0.
Yeah. Well, Foxy, in the past 5 games, Fournier's averaged 15.8 points per game on almost 30 minutes per game, 51.4% from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
And he's putting up 7 3-pointers per game. So that kind of volume, I mean, that's perfect. That's even more than what we want from him. That efficiency is tremendous. Before that, he was only at 12.2 points per game at 35.1% from the 3-point line for the first 12 games, first 15 games of the year. So he's starting to come around.
Yeah. I think the legs, everything. Like I've said, I hate when guys play in the Olympics and stuff. They never get the true rest they need in the off season. So I'm glad his legs are coming around because his shots were hitting so much of the front rim at the first, 10 or 15 games. So I'm glad.
What was that one game? That one game where like every single Knick was front rimming.
I know. That's what's funny you said that because the first thing I put out a tweet on that was like, folks, do you think Tibbs ran a hard practice today? That everybody is tired. The shots are hitting you. We're old school. The first thing of when shots hit the front of the rim, that usually means tired legs. And thanks to Clyde Frazier, that's where I learned it from.
You learn a lot from Clyde. I'm not going front on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
All my life for the most part.
Yep.
It's two of us, 3 of us, and about 3 million of us.
Still, some people give him some slack. I'm like, I don't understand. He's unbiased. He gives his honest opinions about the game, whether it be good or bad. You learn from him.
Yeah,
everybody wants
it's
a
shame most of us didn't get to really. I mean, he was like one of the greatest point guards ever to ever play the game.
Yeah, he's the Quis of
Ever.
basketball, man. Just
He'd be
freaking
great
cool.
now. He's one of those guys who would be great in any era.
Yeah, no doubt.
His game translates.
Yeah.
And also he was a horse, man. You know, he was a big boy, big body, knew how to use that body, getting to the rim. He was, I forgot who I was talking with in the comments of this past week's Sunday show. They left some really kind words, but they were reminiscing about Grimes going behind his back for the alley-oop to Obi, reminded him of Will Frazier going behind his back. And we both were reminiscing about how wonderful Clyde was and how smooth, but how he put everybody in their position, how he was brilliant on defense, how he changed basketball. Marv Albert became famous because of this move Clyde would do to make the basket and get the foul and one. Yes, and one, and it counts. So he was legendary. So that's why why don't these guys use him? He's an encyclopedia of point guards. He was magnificent, but he was the thing why I had trouble with IQ is because of watching a Will Frazier. He was just so smooth, effortless. There wasn't any kinetic or out of control elements to his game. Always under control. So that's why I just loved him. I was very blessed to see him in his prime.
Want to give a shout out to Parrish Duggar. He's saying, George, I hope you remember me saying Grimes plays defense like a young Walt Clyde Frazier.
Yes,
his shooting
that's true.
Also mimics Clyde. He's going to be big time. Perfect timing from this Parrish.
Yeah.
Parrish is awesome.
100% Parrish. I mean, Grimes, we got ourselves, look, at the 25th pick, we got IQ the year before, and now we got Grimes. Those two guys are going to be serious. And then we got Obi. I mean, we got some players. And then we got Deuce. I love our young core.
Yeah.
Love it.
Energy.
Hopefully Tibbs puts him on the court a lot more. Baby Bacher. That's what we call them, right?
Baby Bachers. Yep.
They look great in that second quarter, man. A lot of energy. So, guys, I got some advanced stats as well as our rankings for each team, both the Knicks and the Nets. And you can see the Nets push the pace. They're 6th in the league with a pace of 100.4. And we're 25th with 97.4 is our pace. And I think a lot of that stems from Julius Randle pushing the ball up. I love to see what Quis was doing when he was running the team, active, trying to get the ball, even after makes, trying to push the ball, push the pace. Because I think our second unit really thrives when they're moving the ball and getting up and down the court, whether that be Quick, Obi, and even Grimes, now that he's a featured member in that unit. So hopefully the starters can try to, do some of that same pushing the ball, trying to get into their offense a lot earlier. I think we'll see a lot more success. What do you guys think? Foxy, I'll start with you.
George and I are both believe in Tibbs in the sense that we're big fans of the 4 factors on offense and defense. So the effective field goal percentage on offense and the effective field goal percentage of your opposition. So versus the offensive rating and defensive rating, I think the effective so far this year we're 16. We're 18th in the league at 51.6 on offense. And on defense, we're 8th in the league at 50%. So I think that's maybe a little more of a metric that we like versus the offensive defensive rating, and reflecting both the 3-point, 2-point shot and stuff like that. So it reflects a little more than sometimes on the defensive rating where we're 16th rather than 8th. And like we said, I think the changes. I think our defense is.
Tibbs also looks at that.
I know. That's why I said we're both we look at the things once we heard Tibbs and the way we think about that and rebounds and points in the paint. We have our little checkoff list. Like we know exactly what Tibbs is looking at, and offensive rating and defensive rating sometimes is not the one. It's more the effective field goal percentage, both for us and for our opponents.
Yeah, I wish we'd pick up the pace, man. That's one thing that just. Because originally Thibs had talked about us picking up the pace as a team overall, and it hasn't happened. So hopefully now with Burks there, because Burks does like actually to push the pace up a little bit. So but then again, he was the one who was kind of like not seeing Obi when Obi was leaking out, and so we'll see. Who knows how this is going to go in terms of the pace? It will be a battle because they do they do like to run the Nets with Harden and KD. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm glad RJ's playing. I'm glad Julius is playing. Without those two, I really don't think we had much a chance tonight. But with them playing, hopefully the good mojo from the other night against the Hawks. That was a big win, guys. That Hawks,
it was
by far
could have been a changing point in the season.
Yeah, it's a turning point. And Foxy called it. He says this could be the capitulation point.
The inflection point. Inflection point.
He's talking about that money. Hey, today was an inflection point. Powell's over here talking crazy. That's got all the stocks crashing.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll carry over. I think it will. I think because there's that familiarity with them, and Fournier's starting to fit in. He was the other unknown in that situation. I think he's I mean, look, he's 7th in the entire NBA in field goals, in 3-point shots made in the past 5 games. Yeah. So only Steph, Hero, Patty Mills, Luka, and Terry Rozier is number 1 with 5.2 3-point shots made in the past 5 games per game.
Scary Terry.
Yeah. He's the other guy I wanted on this team.
Yeah.
You wanted us to trade for him?
I wanted to,
2 years ago, people were talking trading Julius for him.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I can't even laugh at them. 2 years ago, I was saying trade Julius for Lonzo. I think that's still one of my most viewed videos on the channel. I think they're still killing me over it.
Yeah, for sure.
We got another super chat from Joseph Chavez, $5 super chat. Thank you for your support. Greatly appreciate it. He's saying, I'm a huge bettor for online sports books. RJ and Quick will have a great game. Fournier will have an average game until the 4th quarter. Well, if he plays in the 4th quarter, that'll be a big change. Remember, earlier in the season, he wasn't even making the court in the 4th quarter. So,
it wasn't on the closing crew. Exactly. So, yeah. Hey, quick shout out, Julian Blum, my brother. Hope all is well. Same thing with Illmatics. A shout out to Hard Will. Just appreciate Frederick, all these wonderful people that always show support. Just wanted to have a quick, we'll get a little more proper in a little few minutes, but just wanted to say hi, see you shouting out. Give me a shout out. I wanted to just make sure I didn't miss it.
Carly's saying, damn, people saying Burks already. Not sure what that one. I guess Burks, is it going to be it at point guard or what? What did we say?
Here's another Fournier stat. Clutch points. In clutch points in the 4th quarter. Just to give you guys. So Fournier is 18th. 18th in most points scored in clutch time in the 4th quarter in the NBA.
Yeah.
So the guy's got, I mean, he's a player. He's a player. He just looked lost out there defensively, and now without Kemba next to him, hopefully it'll unlock him. He'll feel more comfortable. Hopefully, is what it is. I think it. When you're constantly getting burned defensively, you feel like shit. And then you go to the other side and you're overthinking it. You're trying to make up for it. And that's not the way you should be approaching the game. You just play the game, look for your shot. If you're open, make it. If you're not, pass it. But when you're adding all that other trash in your brain there about trying to make up for what you did on defensive end, it's just not a good way for a shooter.
Hey, fellas, could I ask you both a question and get your insight? That do you think the Kemba thing also had other meanings? That it was a shot across the bow that's saying, "Hey, Kemba was the right move, but fellas, doesn't stop at Kemba. Either you play the right basketball, or I'll bench anybody on this team. Let's get an attitude adjustment quick. Let's win. Let's play good basketball. But if you don't want to play what I'm asking you to play, I'll do the same thing with you that I did with Kemba."
Well, I mean, if you let Berman tell it, Tibbs fighting for his job.
He's 63 years old. The clock's going, man. If he doesn't win in the next few years, how much longer is he going to be going?
I think the whole thing was weird though, because if you listen to the press conference, Tibbs is talking about that he likes bigger guards, et cetera, but it's not like Kemba shrunk before we signed. I mean, after we signed him, we knew what we were getting in the package, and that was just weird for him. For me to hear him say, it's like, I understand you like bigger guards, but then were you really the one behind the Kemba Walker signing, or was that something that the front office did and didn't really have your blessing? Because he looked all smiles and he did seem like he wasn't happy with that decision internally, like he was struggling with it. But then you hear what he says about not liking bigger guards, and you look at Kemba and you see what Kemba is, just doesn't add up to me, at least.
Yeah, I think it definitely was a warning shot. It was kind of like, hey, so you guys have been either overtly complaining or kind of through smoke signals complaining,
or body language complaining.
Exactly. Well,
Pouting,
guess
yep.
what? I'm removing that. Now it's on you. And that's when I put out my video about the whole thing. I said, this is basically, he's announcing to Randall and RJ, it's time to deliver, to get back to the players that you guys were at the end of last season. So I think whether he'd bench him or not, I don't know. Maybe he'd bench RJ.
RJ
he
didn't play in crunch time the other night.
Yeah,
playing in crunch time and not starting, two different things, though. It's a lot easier to not have somebody out there in the fourth quarter as opposed to having this media hoopla. It's Kemba Walker. Imagine now RJ Barrett, our third overall pick, if you were to go and bench, him. I mean, this is a Knicks specific thing, because this isn't the only player that's getting their minutes reduced. You've had conversations with the Nets about Blake Griffin not having a blake's minutes and getting his minutes reduced.
Blake's out.
Or is out of the rotation.
Out of the rotation, and you don't.
He's their version of Kemba.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't hear too many people talking about it. So imagine if we take our third overall pick and move him to the bench, or we take a Julius Randle player. We just played $23 million per year, I think, in the extension that we signed him to, right in that ballpark, and then decide to bench him. I think New York would be on fire if that were to happen. A lot of fans would like it because they're not big fans of Julius Randle, but the media, man, they'd be loving it.
Yeah, the media loves that shit, but I don't think. I think Tibbs just wants to send the message to get him right, not to send the message to hurt him.
Yeah. In terms of, like you were saying, Quis and Foxy, in terms of starting, it would take a lot for him to bench Julius.
Word.
And even RJ, honestly.
Exactly.
But like you just pointed out, sitting them fourth quarters. I mean, he sat Julius for a fourth, like 2
couple games ago.
Yeah, not that long ago. Yeah, and he sat him through some stretches, so that could be his way of getting through to them. Like, hey, you gotta play your game, or else your butt's gonna sit.
Want to give a shout out, Giordano, no excuses, just results, saying he's new to the channel, but I'm liking the takes so far. Let's go Knicks. Thank you, Giordano, for tuning into the channel.
Welcome.
Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. We go live, Foxy and I, Sundays at 8 p.m. And then also make sure you guys all check out George at Into the Knicks Verse. We alternate pregame shows. So this show, we're here on this channel. And then when's the next game? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday we'll be on George's channel doing the pregame there. That's the Bulls, right?
Bulls, yeah.
On my birthday. Oh, wait.
Are you going to the game?
The second.
I have games for today. That's my birthday. Yeah. I got tickets for the 4th, the Nuggets game.
Oh, the Nuggies. Okay.
Yep. So, Giordano, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to both channels. That way, you never miss a pregame show.
Yeah. Hi, Ashley Inc. 1. Shout out to you. Thanks for your support.
We have 167 watching right now. It's awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, appreciate the
thumbs
support.
ups.
I got 172 actually.
It just
fluctuates. It just jumps.
Yeah. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both channels, because the show's here today, and on Tuesday or Thursday, like we said, it'll be on George's channel. So make sure you catch us there as well.
Hey, Robert Taylor's new to the channel also, but loving the takes. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Like we said, check us out and please subscribe. You won't ever look back. Like I always say, we have enlightened, hopefully we'll enlighten you. Hopefully we'll entertain you. Sometimes controversial, but it's all love, love.
Just to get back to the move that Thibs had that Thibs made, because last year he didn't make the move that we wanted him to make until
the season was over,
until 6 quarters into the playoffs, when he finally benched
Peyton.
So he waited forever. So this was a difficult decision for Thibs. He doesn't like to make changes like this. So I applaud him for making it. Did he wait too long? Should it be Rose and IQ switched out for both Kemba and Fournier? All that stuff. Those we can argue about all that stuff and everything, but we can't overlook the fact that he made a big move and it's important. And I don't think he could have waited any longer. 20 games was it. I mean, when was that pregame that we did when we were calling for him to make the move?
That might have been game 15 or 16.
I think it was around there. So, it took him another 5-6 games, but he finally got there. And so this is great because it just shows that this guy wants to win. That's what he cares
I think
about.
you nailed it in your wonderful video the other day, George, that you talked about him, said, hey, you say if we wait 20 games and then if we wait 30 games, you nailed it the other day, man.
Yeah. Well, Thibs, that's why I made a big deal about when he said that in the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when he first originally did it, because that was the original warning shot.
Exactly.
And he only waited another 10 games from that time. Well, not only, but that's 10 games is a lot.
But like you said, but now it's like, fellas, I'm serious. Did you see that? I'll do it again. Don't mess with me. I'm 63.
It's a good time to do it. Yeah.
I got to get this done quick.
Yeah. But
how with you, Johnny Bryan? I hear your breath on the back of my neck. I don't want it.
Oh, yeah. And also December 15th.
15th.
Free agents become available to be traded. So we want to get answers now.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait.
That's why I want to see some of the young guys play. See,
Exactly.
we do have holes on this roster, then we can address them. We won't know if we have to reach outside of the organization without first seeing what we have in-house. So hopefully, McBride and Grimes. Well, we see Grimes getting a lot more minutes now with the benching of Kemba, but hopefully we can get McBride some minutes as well to see if he can contribute. Because I thought the Atlanta Hawks would have been a great game to get him involved, and we didn't really see him play in that game, unfortunately.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank God it turned out well. But
we ended up seeing a lot of IQ on Trey defensively. Mm-hmm. Who I gotta say, he did a great job.
Yeah, fantastic.
Stepped up defensively.
I think Trey did not get a field goal in the fourth quarter.
One in garbage time.
Yeah.
But it was in garbage time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically held them without in
the fourth quarter. We're talking about one of the most lethal scorers in the NBA.
But
but just to say, George, this was the second game of a back-to-back, and you saw both teams couldn't make a shot. So a lot of that factors in as well.
The coolest part is they played a great defensive game. He only scored 33 points.
But it was great for me because I got him on my fantasy team. It was the best outcome ever. We won. Trey went off. Everybody's happy.
Boy, did we do our thing. So, and he only had 7 assists. But what we touched on, I thought was the big thing between Burks, between Grimes, between Randall. We had to say shout outs on his switches that he looked tired in that fourth quarter. So banging him, making him play defense on the other side of the ball. He wasn't the same player in crunch time, versus the playoffs last year where he still looked fresh.
Yeah. I mean, who was he even guarding for most of the game?
Well, if you look at the defensive stats I said earlier, it looks like he's not guarding anyone this season.
Yeah, but was he on Burks or Fournier?
I don't know.
Trey's on Burks.
Trey was on Burks. That's a bad assignment for Trey.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah,
Burks compared to him
has 4 inches on him, and he's just big, and he's a man.
And Burks was making him work too.
Yeah,
made him work defensively, which probably attributed to him having a poor shooting night towards the end of the game as well. So that's why having Burks in there also helps if you're going up against a point guard like that. You have Burks that can make him work defensively, get him tired, and not be as effective in fourth quarters.
That was the beauty of last year's team. We wore offenses down, so by the fourth quarter, even if they were having a good game, they didn't have much by the fourth quarter. I want to see that again.
Yeah, last year we used to beat people up. We were bullies.
Yeah, I love that.
Hey, shout out to my guy Sherwin M, coaching legend of the Westchester Hawks. Really knows his hoops. Said Fournier can't guard anyone. You're not getting a lot of arguments here, but we can only afford, as you know, Sherwin, one guy on the team at a time. We could disguise it. We just couldn't have two at a time in the same lineup. So that's why. And shout out to my guy Quis. He made that great point on his videos. If you didn't catch his previous video that he posted talking about having two minus guys in the lineup at the same time is a recipe for disaster.
Totally.
Yeah. We've got another super chat. Citizen X with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for the support. Greatly appreciate it. He's saying salute to Quis, George, Foxy, and the chat. You guys are living up to Knicks fan reputation of knowing basketball. Thank you, Citizen X. Appreciate the support.
Thank you, Citizen X. You're awesome, man.
Citizen X, you also have some jewels in the chat as well. So you should add your name to that list as well.
Yeah. Oh, we have a great chat, man. The comments.
Hey.
And on my videos and stuff, the comments are awesome, man. Just they always make me think, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know. And
they're an additional co-host.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
and
it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street here.
Yeah.
With this, so
we drop some gems to them, and then they return the favor and give us some gems back as well.
Exactly.
And in fact, a gem from Knicks 100 GM. Shout out to him. Talk to him all the time on Twitter. He predicted it, so shout out to him. Everybody give Knicks GM Knicks 100 GM a thumbs up. He predicted that they were going to call up Deuce right after the game, and sure enough, that's what they did. So shout out, you know your hoops, Knicks 100. Yeah, oh, I love my roadcaster. So shout out to my friend like that. And anybody, I'm Fox on Twitter. If you ever want to. But between Sundays and other things, I'm Fox Sports Talk on Twitter if you want to follow me.
Let's see. Joseph Chavez says Burks is so young too. Only diehard fans are on top of it. Mistype what I was going to say. Oh, my bad, Joseph. I put you on Front Street and you had a typo in there. Ashley Inc. one is saying, I think Obi or Sims are the only ones we got to slow down KD one-on-one. I think Julius Randle's going to step up and take that challenge. I don't know. I don't think Obi's going to. None of these guys are shutting down KD.
Nobody in the league shuts down KD.
Yeah, you just got to make life difficult.
KD is the actual unicorn, even though he's the one who created it for CP.
He's prototype number one.
Yeah. He's a blink, under 29 points a game, and he's brilliant.
Randall in the press conference yesterday talked about KD. Then he's. He wants to go out. He said, look, the guy's, I don't know if he used the word freak, but he's 7 feet tall, who can do everything. So you can't stop him, but he's up for the challenge. He's looking forward to battling against him because Randall's a competitor.
They had a bad comparison, I think, though. He was something about KD is 11-1 and their head-to-head matchups or something crazy like that.
Yeah, well.
Doesn't look good, yeah. Didn't look good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, KD's played on much better teams.
That is true. That is true.
OKC.
What'd you call it? KD's known to go from squad to squad. He's not going to get it out the mud like we are here with the New York Knicks.
It's crazy.
So that homegrown talent, man.
KD was on the Warriors, man. That's crazy. I remember when he was on, I was like, what? Man.
Oh, Ashley saying not shut down, slow down, copy. Did I just misread it? That happens from time to time.
Yeah, happens to me all the time. I'm blind as a bat.
This is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a tough game tonight, guys. Because the
of course,
Nets do not want to lose to the Knicks.
Yeah,
at home. So they're going to do everything possible to pull this game out. They're going to make us work hard, and we've talked about their surprising defense. I mean, I'm surprised, but they're not playing the guys that they were originally going to play. So that kind of was why. Yeah. I mean, the guys like Embry, solid defender. KD has stepped up his defense tremendously.
They're number one against the 3 points this year. Number one in the league.
Yeah, and then there's Aldridge. So they're. And even Patty Mills, who's normally a defensive liability, even he has been stepping up defending the 3-point line. So it's gonna be a battle. Not sure. I mean, I'm hoping we pull out a win. Obviously, but it's gonna be tough. What we haven't seen is a real tight game that just goes all the way down to the wire.
Nail biter.
We haven't seen that since
We did the Bulls.
The Bulls and the Celtics. Then that went to overtime, remember?
Double overtime.
But the Bulls, we had the lead, remember? And they kind of, but it was, it was a good game.
And the Celtics, we had the lead that gave up too.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it's, I hope it's a good game. It's a tight game, and then we just wear them down.
Yeah, and don't forget, folks, when we beat the Hawks the other night, they shot 24% from 3. So you can't expect that well, we're lucky that Joe Harris, one of their best shooters, is not playing tonight, and also one of their worst defenders. So, and they only shot 35% field goal percentage too, the Hawks the other night. So we got them. So hopefully we luck out.
But that also comes with that switchability on the perimeter.
I'm with you. So I agree, my friend.
They can't exploit it. They can't find our weakness. So that's hopefully that'll stay in. Is D Rose in? Derrick Rose in?
Yeah, they said it was available, right?
It's a game.
Or was it still
decision.
game time?
Game time decision is what they said. But we're 18 minutes out.
Was that close to the game? Oh shoot, we are that close to the game. One thing I do want to mention, though, I think this team has shown that they've shown up for big games. They showed up for that Chicago Bulls game, showed up for the game against the Atlanta Hawks, and this is another game that you can look at as a rivalry game. So I think we'll show up. We're just going to have to depend on, I think, our defense and how we're able to stop some of the, secondary, or not secondary, but some of the, auxiliary pieces out there for the Nets. We can't allow, like you said, Aldridge, Patty Mills, and those players to really go off, because then we'll be in trouble, because we can expect KD to have his 25 points, and you can expect, James Harden to have something like 18, 20 points and his 7, 8 assists. It's what we do with those other players and not allowing them to contribute. The same way we won against the Hawks. Trey went off, but outside of Capella's 21 rebounds, no one really had a breakout performance against us.
No, they only out-rebounded us, like you said the other day, by 2, even though he had 21 rebounds.
Miguel Lorena is saying, I put it like this: the Knicks, my favorite team is Brooklyn Nets every day. Or look where the Nets at first place. Knicks might have a chance. Oh, we got some Nets fans in the chat. Hey, listen, chop it up with everybody.
Yeah, Miguel.
Let's see. The Nets, they barely beat the Magic. 115, 113. They gave 113. Well, we lost.
Well, we can't even laugh. We lost to the Magic.
How twice at home.
How dare we?
Exactly. But it gives you an idea.
Feel bad for Jalen Suggs. His thumb, man.
He fractured his thumb. Yeah,
he's gonna be out indefinitely.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
I closed the poll, guys. So I asked who will have a breakout game tonight versus the Nets. 33% think RJ Barrett, 27% think Randall, 25% think Burks, and 14% think Fournier. And we got a record here on the channel, 103 votes. Highest ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're racking it up. I think Sunday the highest was around 80 something. I think 81.
Well, you know what? I mean, the Nets, since they lost to the Bulls, they played Orlando, they beat them. They played the Pelicans, they beat them. They played OKC, they beat them. That's pretty cushy. Three teams in a row after that loss. Then they got spanked by Golden State at home.
Oh yeah,
at home. They did beat Cleveland. They did beat, then they had Orlando again. Then they had Cleveland again. And then they had the Boston game where they crushed Boston. But then they lost to Phoenix. So, if the Knicks come with their A game, they can win this tonight. But it takes the A game. Nothing less. Not even A minus.
A game, high energy, and high physicality. Come on, we're New York. We got to play physical basketball.
Yeah. And also avoid stupid fouls.
Yeah.
And dumb turnovers.
The dumb turnovers, God, oh my God, that's just right. It's crazy. Those turnovers.
Yeah, lackadaisical, not acting like you're not, engaged into the game, thinking the opposing team's going to allow you to bring the ball up, and not take care of the ball. Can't have that. tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, because they're going to come up motivated as well. They always hear the same trash talk saying, oh, this is a New York Knicks team, this is a New York Knicks city, and things of that nature. So they're going to be motivated, and in those games you're probably going to get their best effort. So like you guys said, we're going to need an A+ effort, because we can't rely on them coming in and not knocking down their shots or anything like that. They're going to be home. Their bench is going to be a little bit more comfortable. Honestly, it doesn't matter where they play. They're both living in New York or in the surrounding areas anyway. But, I expect there to be some Nets turnout, but I expect to see a lot of Knicks fans in there for the most part. You think we're going to have more Knicks fans in there than Nets?
I'm not surprised by that. Yeah. Absolutely.
I could say it'd be a decent, like a 50-50 split even, maybe.
I hope we take over.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We
got to move the ball, man. We
Lakers
just got to pass that ball.
there.
Our assist rate is just so low. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the only thing I'm looking at statistically from past things is Burks potentially getting into foul trouble. He does not, from a percentile, if you on cleaning the glass, he does rate. He does get into foul trouble. So. That's
bench Burks. It's a little different mind. When you start,
great point, fantastic point. But that's why I said it, because he's going against the first team now. So if you're getting that on second team, imagine you going against the first team now.
Yeah, he's got to be careful.
Yeah, for us, absolutely, because that's a big thing. If not, we go back down to small guys. No more 6'6" guy there.
I hope RJ has another good game, because he's starting to wake up a little bit, and I want
to percolate.
Yeah,
played a nice game against the Hawks. 15 points,
very nice
7 rebounds, only 1 assist. The game before 0, so that's an area that we want him to pick up on, passing that ball. But yeah, we want him to get out of his funk.
I think he was the plus minus leader in that game.
He was at 18.
Yeah, so, and that's because he gets time with the first unit and the second unit. And they were clicking that second unit with him there.
Yeah.
He needs more time with them. Quick pushes the pace. And it works in RJ's favor, works in Obi's favor. And you can see how dynamic that lineup is when they're out there on the floor together.
It's an adrenaline rush, man. You see the energy level go out of the roof. Like, man, I love playing with these guys, man.
It would be really nice. It would be kind of cool to see the first one off the bench, if it was Obi subbing in for RJ. So RJ comes out, rests 2-3 minutes. Then RJ comes back in for Randall, and then the rest of the second unit comes in. So
that's an interesting rotation.
Ball, yeah. Well, not so much small ball, because we'll still have Mitch or.
You're a fan of Obi at the 3?
In this particular scenario, to give RJ a breather, like a 3-minute breather, so that when RJ comes back in the game, he comes back in the game for Randall, so then he gets quality time with the second unit. That's it'd be an interesting rotation switch now.
We've got a serious question from Phase 1. He's saying, is anyone concerned about Burks' former injury history now that he will be starting and possibly playing more minutes?
Did you ever hear that before, Quis?
Yeah, I just mentioned it. It's about
earlier today we were talking about that Phase 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are concerned. We are concerned, Phase 1. We were talking about it earlier. God bless you. We were just saying that we're hoping that the basketball gods let him. This is the anomaly year where he stays healthy all year. Because, like you said, that history trend, he usually has a couple stints on the IR, tweaking an ankle, high ankle sprains, and stuff like that. So, Keith and I and George, we were discussing earlier, like, please, 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 please let him be healthy this year, because that will really accelerate Deuce's getting playing time, that's for sure. But I don't want that to happen in order for Deuce to get playing time. I want Burks is having a career year, and I'd love him to have that career year. But that is something that's haunting me in the back of my head, Burks and Mitch and Noel, and that they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
You got quite a few players.
You guys realize Burks has a long history with Johnny Bryant, right?
Utah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if Johnny Bryant was the mastermind behind. Hey, let's use Burks as a point guard. In fact, I think I may even have read something like that last season.
Hey, got a favor, Big
Boy.
M in the chat. Could you do me a favor? Please change your name. That's really an offensive name. I have a friend that's a little person, and that's not really a nice thing to say. So if you can change that, I really appreciate it. It's being sensitive to other people in the world is cool.
Jeremiah Nunez thinks the Knicks are winning by 4 tonight.
Yo, Jeremiah, I love
like
that.
that.
Hey, and
like
if you're new,
that.
please give us a thumbs up so we give you a proper welcome. But yeah, we're God. I hope you're mount to God's ears. I'd love us to win tonight, man. Because there's nothing like a recap of both George and Quis when we win, because their smile, you don't need any lighting in the room because that smile just lights the room up when we win.
When you look at Burks's shooting stats for his career, he's an example of one of those guys that comes into the league. You're like, hey man, you know what? He can shoot the three, but he's not really an efficient shooter throughout. His field goal percentage is below the medium. 45.8%, 45.7%.
I know, I'm looking at it.
44%. But then in 2019 and 20, after he went to play for Golden State, he kicked up a little bit to 48%. Then it was 57.1% for the 18 games he played for Philly. Then he comes to the Knicks, 52.2% last season. And now he's at 56% for a 72 percentile. So he's been trending in the right direction. I'm talking about all around because he's a multi-level scorer. So I'm not sure. I don't remember him when he first started. I don't know if he had if he was a 3-level scorer back when he was younger. I'm not sure with you.
And when he came out of Colorado,
Coming into the league.
yeah.
I'm not sure he was a 3-level scorer.
Well, he was a point guard at that stage when he came out and stuff. So I think
they have him as a wing combo.
Yeah, well,
But they try to label everybody now.
everybody I know in the political world today.
Yeah, I guess my point is that he's figuring his game out to become a really efficient offensive weapon, and now he's playing his best offensive game now at 30 years of age. Knicks winning by 7. I like that. 7's a nice, comfortable number.
Yeah, 7-11 are my numbers. I'm real superstitious. So yeah, I love that number. So,
Big Task is saying
starts on defense.
Big Task says, for some reason, I think that Burks is motivated to show people that he belongs in the starting lineup. Well, his teammates are rooting for him. That's for sure.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, I think everyone's rooting. That's why we said behind the scenes, I'm rooting for this guy. Sometimes people, at his age, it takes a few years to hit it. He's in his groove. We saw him going MJ-like over the microwaving off the thing. And all I'm asking the basketball gods is please give this guy a year off from injuries. Let him have a full year that he could talk to his grandchildren about. Remember that year 21, 22, where I went crazy for the Knicks?
Hey, we got someone from the Philippines.
Yeah,
Hey.
Jason Cordero, Knicks Forever from the Philippines. Thank you for tuning in. We
Shout
appreciate
out.
the international support.
Absolutely.
And welcome to the show.
Love the
All
Philippines.
right, guys. We'll wrap it up there. I think it was a great pregame show. George,
Honor
any
as
closing
always.
remarks?
Great. Thanks so much. Thanks for having us on. It was a great pregame. I'm excited for this game, man.
Go Knicks,
Yeah,
go.
we both.
Love the SV Nation. Thanks for your support again. If you haven't hit that like, that subscribe, please hit it. Please hit that all remind the bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content from Quis. Please hit that, share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And again, shout out to the best mods in the planet. We appreciate all you do.
All right, thank you, guys. We're going to close out with Jay Boogie. He's got his song.
Let's
And
go.
The closer. Drop it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm Quis. That's my guy Fox, and that's George from Into the Knicks Verse. You can check out his channel via the hyperlink in the title of the live stream. So once again, thank you
We'll
guys.
be doing the pregame on Thursday on Into the Knicks.
Definitely pre-game Thursday.
Maybe we
on
can
Into
get
the Knicks
JD to
Verse.
join us.
Yo,
Have
the
have
syndicate.
entire syndicate on for a stream.
Tell him
Thanks.
to
So
get
once
his
again,
ass
I'm
home
Keith.
earlier.
Love the SV Nation.
Salute, guys.
Let's get it. Y'all be spitting with your flows, I'm just podcasting.
That's right.
On the air every day, I'm just podcasting.
What?
You don't know what that mean when I say I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting these flows with the podcasting. Every day of my life, I'm just podcasting.
Right.
Share my dreams with you, mean I'm podcasting.
What?
You can see my vision through the podcasting.
Yeah.
But don't forget Jay Boogie when I'm broadcasting.
What?
I'm podcasting,
What?
he podcasting.
What?
I've been spitting this venom since Karate Flicks. When Mr. Sims was sharing nothing but the Knicks. I guess you know by now, I seen some tough years. Now I know the reason why Freezy got them blowing tears. Closest thing to the Reverend means I'm the deacon. Call up G-Mo just so he can talk the Legion. I'm squeezing, get my young ones to overstand. Some more advice, Ron Cleveland, Mr. Man. I guess y'all know I'm just podcasting, right? Y'all be spitting with your flows, I'm just podcasting.
That's right.
On the air every day, I'm just podcasting.
What?
You don't know what that mean when I say I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting these flows with the podcasting. Every day of my life, I'm just podcasting.
Right.
Share my dreams with you, mean I'm podcasting.
What?
You can see my vision through the podcasting.
Yeah.
But don't forget Jay Boogie when I'm broadcasting.
What?
I'm podcasting,
What?
he podcasting.
What?
I know some haters and doubters, they wanna take the shine. Call up JL, he said, do it in a nick of time. I feel you young when the car drive, they wanna ride. If you ain't Quis, we don't share the same sports vibe. We different, in other words, we ain't alike. My young head Hadouken, he a nick at night. No sleeping, we YouTubing through the daylight. That's what it is when you live inside that Nick life. That Nick life, that Nick life. Y'all be spitting with your flows, I'm just podcasting.
That's right.
On the air every day, I'm just podcasting.
What?
You don't know what that mean when I say I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting these flows with the podcasting. Every day of my life, I'm just podcasting.
Right.
Share my dreams with you, mean I'm podcasting.
What?
You can see my vision through the podcasting.
Yeah.
But don't forget Jay Boogie when I'm broadcasting.
What?
I'm podcasting,
What?
he podcasting.
What?
My man CP said let's Nick fan the TV. From the podcast back to the MSG, the network, we breaking news here every day. Run the intro, that's CK, the 2K, the bills paid. Stephen Fox, he got a dog walk. We'll tell JD we need that new sport talk. I don't care about the Sixers if they falling off. I'm at the rim left-handed like John Starks. John Starks, what? John Starks. Shout out to all the podcasters doing their thing. If you listen and represent a podcast, hit the like button and smash them up. You know what I'm saying? They working hard for you and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the First Lady, Miss Stephanie. Shout out to Ian Begley. Shout out to J Mac. Shout out to my man Tone Wu. Shout out to my man for the love of the game. And shout out for the pause and radio. And a special shout out to my man Entertainer, you know what I'm saying? Rocking them New York Giants. It is football season, I can't forget him, man. Peace, love, and happiness to everybody. Protect yourself, love yourself, you know what I'm saying? 3 capital S's, salute, 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 man. Peace.